The day Grand Marshal Zareth's fleet dropped out of hyperspace above Earth, every telescope, satellite, and radar array on the planet screamed at once. 17 Doomsday Cruisers. Each one the size of a small moon. Each one capable of cracking a planet's crust with a single sustained salvo. The Vorkai Empire had never lost a war. Not in 400 years of conquest. Not against the Serenthi. Not against the Silicon Hive of Drellon. Not against anyone. Zareth stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Ruin, watching the blue-green marble below him with the detached interest of a man who had seen 1,000 worlds before it. His adjutant, Commander Veth, approached with a data slate. The humans have responded to our surrender ultimatum, Grand Marshal. And? Veth hesitated. That hesitation was unusual. Veth never hesitated. They declined. And they sent coordinates. Zareth raised a brow ridge. Coordinates for what? They called it a meeting point. One of their admirals requests a parley before hostilities begin. Standard diplomatic. We do not parley with civilizations we are about to absorb. Zareth turned back to the viewport. Begin orbital bombardment of their largest population sin. Grand Marshal. Veth's voice dropped. Our long-range sensors are picking up something. From the dark side of their moon. Zareth turned slowly. On the tactical display, new signatures were blooming. Not 1. Not 10. 247 distinct energy signatures, all coming online simultaneously, all moving with a terrifying precision that made his fleet's formation look like children playing in sand. The human fleet emerged from behind the moon like a held breath finally released. They were smaller ships. Far smaller than his Doomsday Cruisers. No individual vessel matched even a third the mass of the Eternal Ruin. But there were so many of them, and they moved with a fluid, almost organic synchronization that made Zareth's targeting system stutter trying to track them all. And at the center of the human formation, moving forward alone, was a single vessel. Long dark. Bristling with weapons arrays that his sensors couldn't fully classify. The communication channel opened on its own. Grand Marshal Zareth. The voice was calm. Almost bored. I'm Admiral Darian Voss, commanding the United Earth Defense Fleet. I believe you received my coordinates. Zareth studied the tactical feed. His fleet had 17 ships. The humans had 247. His ships were larger. But something in the way those human vessels moved. Admiral Voss, he said carefully, you are outnumbered in tonnage by a factor of. I know the math, Voss said. I ran it myself. 3 times. Want to know what I found interesting? Silence. Your Doomsday Cruisers are built for one thing, sustained planetary bombardment. Big guns, big shields, relatively slow. You've never needed to fight a peer navy, because nobody you've fought had a navy worth the name. A pause. We've been building ours for 60 years. In secret. While you were busy absorbing everyone else. Zareth felt something he hadn't felt in a very long time. Uncertainty. You would sacrifice your world on the hope that your smaller vessels can. I'm not hoping anything, Voss said. I'm telling you. We've wargamed this engagement 11,000 times in simulation. You win in about 400 of them. That's a 3.6% success rate for your side. Another pause. I'm not a gambling man, Grand Marshal. But even I like those odds. Zareth looked at Veth. Veth looked back. Neither spoke. I'm going to tell you something we don't tell anyone, Voss continued. Not because I'm being generous. Because I want you to understand why you should turn your fleet around and go home. A long breath. Humanity has been afraid for a long time. We're a young species. Violent history. We nearly destroyed ourselves 6 different times before we made it to space. You know what that does to a civilization? Weakness, Zareth said reflexively. No. Voss's voice didn't change. It makes us very, very good at not dying. We have a saying, whatever doesn't kill us makes us stronger. We didn't write that as poetry. We wrote it as doctrine. On the tactical display, the human fleet had spread into a formation Zareth's battle AI couldn't find a classification for. It wasn't defensive. It wasn't a standard offensive wedge. It was something else entirely, an adaptive net, designed to flow around whatever shape his fleet took. Grand Marshal. It was his weapons officer. I'm reading torpedo solutions on all 17 of our vessels. They've had targeting locks for the past 4 minutes. 4 minutes. They'd been locked on for 4 minutes and said nothing. Done nothing. Just waited. That was not the behavior of a desperate species. Zareth studied the face of Admiral Voss on the viewscreen. The man was perhaps 50 years old by human reckoning. Gray at the temples. Calm eyes. The kind of calm that didn't come from confidence in technology or numbers. It came from somewhere deeper. The calm of a man who had already made peace with the worst possible outcome and found it acceptable. The Vorkai didn't have a word for that. They had a concept for it, distantly, the madness of a cornered animal. But this wasn't madness. This was philosophy. You'd die, Zareth said. Not as a threat. Almost as a question. Some of us, Voss agreed. Probably a lot of us. You'd crack a few cities before we brought your last cruiser down. Millions dead, maybe more. A beat. And then every single Vorkai vessel in this star system would be a debris field, and humanity would spend the next decade building twice as many ships, twice as fast, because that's what we do when someone hurts us. And then we'd come find the rest of your empire. The tactical display updated. The human ships hadn't moved. They didn't need to. I'm not your enemy today, Voss said. I'm the man standing between you and the version of humanity that wakes up angry. You do not want to meet that version, Grand Marshal. I promise you. The bridge of the Eternal Ruin was very quiet. Zareth thought about the Serenthi. How they had broken in 3 days. The Drellon, who had collapsed in 2 weeks. The dozens of civilizations the Vorkai had simply rolled over, barely inconvenienced. He thought about the 400 simulations in 11,000 where his fleet won. He thought about what happened in the other 10,600. He thought about a species that had nearly annihilated itself 6 times and kept going anyway. What do you want? He asked finally. I want you to leave, Voss said. Go home. Tell your empire that Earth is not worth the cost. Tell them we're too stubborn, too strange, too expensive. Find another world. A pause. And if you ever come back to trade. Come back to talk. Come back as something other than a threat. The voice hardened, just slightly. But do not come back as this. Zareth was silent for a long time. His weapons officer was staring at him. His adjutant was staring at him. Every officer on the bridge of the Eternal Ruin was waiting for the word that 400 years of Vorkai history demanded he give. He thought about the math. 3.6%. He thought about the calm in Darien Voss's eyes. Grand Marshal Zareth, conqueror of 19 star systems, undefeated in 4 centuries of warfare, pressed a single key on his command console. All ships, he said quietly. Reverse heading. We are withdrawing. The silence that followed was the loudest thing he had ever heard. On the view screen, Admiral Voss gave a single, small nod. No triumph in it. No gloating. Just acknowledgement. As the Vorkai fleet turned, ponderous and vast, back toward the dark between the stars, Zareth kept his eyes on that one small dark ship at the center of the human formation, growing slowly smaller on his display. He had conquered worlds. He had broken civilizations. He had never, in 400 years, felt the particular sensation that gripped him now. He had been spared. And somehow, that was worse. Back on Earth, in 1,000 bars and living rooms and city squares, humanity watched the alien fleet disappear from their sky. Some cheered. Some cried. Most just breathed. They had been afraid. They had prepared anyway. That, in the end, was the deadliest weapon of all.